soon. G'day guys, it's your boy here, Be Radical Oftenly. Welcome back to another episode of Drive and Dive. So here we are, it's Saturday the 26th of February, and I headed down to Vicargill to pick the kids' auntie up. She's over from Australia, so I thought I'd get in the water and see what I could find. Yeah, a bit of an overcast day here at Ocean Beach Bluff, and yeah, straight into the Paua as soon as I hit the water, and that one was a legal size, so in the float boat with that. Yeah, first time diving at this spot. Kind of had a quick Google and sort of roughly knew what I was in for. I was feeling quite fatigued after, about 3 hours on the road from Dunedin, and didn't really feel like walking around the point to explore other spots. So I just jumped in below the car park, and like I'd read, yeah, lots of undersized Paua, so it was quite hard work. I think if I go back, I'll definitely be walking a bit further around, doing a bit more exploring. But I mean, for me, I like to prospect, and I wanted to check those rocky outcrops out, and yeah, a bit of fun. Checking the wee yellowfoots. It's hard, I hadn't been in the water for nearly 2 months here, I suppose, so I was getting my bearings on sizing and checking those wee yellowfoots out. You're allowed to take them from 80mm up. It's a legal size requirement. Obviously 125mm for your blackfoot, and you can actually get 10 of each, so in total you can have 10 blackfoot and 10 yellowfoot, as most of you will know, but for anyone that doesn't, in this particular spot anyway, in Bluff. But yeah, it was my uncle's tangi this week, so I wanted to see if I can get a bit of a feed for the family, so ended up working out in the end. But yeah, she's absolutely beautiful country down here. Yeah, amazing exploring down Bluffways. I'd like to get down Stewart Island, hopefully this year, but I'll definitely be back down Bluff, so if anyone knows, give me a bit more insight into the area. Keen to know a bit more, rather than going in blind. But yeah, if you like my videos, guys, like and subscribe, share it with your friends. I want to try and get the algorithm going on this channel and get the ball rolling. Cheers. Holy hecker, ladies and gentlemen, would you look at all that power? It's a pretty thick bed of it down there. It's a bit like a stunned mullet when I saw this, to be honest. I'd been grazing over spots where there was probably, 5, 10, 15 at the most, and then I come across this, and yeah, I was a bit like a stunned mullet. I didn't know where to look. The predominant amount of them were undersized, so it was sort of like trying to sight something from the surface and head down there to get a couple that sort of looked big, but time I got down there, sometimes I was getting distracted and either picking the wrong ones, but yeah, it was just a matter of bringing them up to the surface, as many up at a time as I could, put them on the float boat, and then having a measure up afterwards, get them all back safely into the water. It's quite funny because there was one Paua in here that I dropped at some stage, and you'll see later in the video there's one upside down and it actually rights itself. It's quite amazing what they do when they start flicking their foot round. They're quite an amazing shellfish, really. It's quite cool to watch them, like observe them over time, especially out of the water. You definitely see them moving around, but you just see a mass of them on the bottom, and they're not really up to much. They seem quite stationary, but yeah, when you tamper with them, they start wriggling. I was actually having a bit of trouble measuring them. I think I might upgrade my measure because it doesn't protrude high enough to actually measure the the bulbous backside of the shell, where it actually goes up from the bottom lip. Sometimes it extends out a bit more, so you've got a legal power, but it's hard to actually get it in between each end of the measuring device there. So I might upgrade that. I'm actually in for something else too. I need to get myself a plastic dive knife, so I might go in and see the guys and see if I can get a free one. Fisheries officers or whatnot. But yeah, apart from that, I'm reasonably happy with my gear. Maybe I need some decent float lines and whatnot. It's a bit of cheapo cord from Mitre 10, I think it was, or the warehouse. I was using it for camping and stuff, but end up going on there on the float boat. Yeah, I've actually only sort of recently started updating some of my dive kit this year. I've sort of made do with all sorts of odds and ends over the years, but getting a bit more serious now, so next thing is to sort my dive boat out though. Hence why I haven't done the dives around Dunedin lately. Amazing the amount of these that were going back. Pretty hard to actually find something of size. Wee bit hard work, to be honest. Yeah, I don't like the super deep stuff, especially when I was tired like this. I was actually quite fatigued on this day. It just rained not long before passing through Invercargill and that. I was just about not going to dive, but jumped in and I had a go at it, but I didn't push myself too hard. I didn't want to get right out the back there in the deep stuff. I did want to go looking for crays, but I didn't have the energy reserves of rep holds, so that'll be a next time number. Definitely quite handy having the float boat. I mean, I always used to have the bag in that, and I'd put them in the bag and then give them a measure after I sort of allotted a few, but it's quite easy just to dump them on top of the float boat, and you don't have the weight of your bag dragging you down once it starts to get heavy. Yeah, not this Paua. I had a couple goes at that particular Paua, but it was another one. It was quite the hindrance on the day, but I think it was about time for this to happen. You're about to see. And there it is. That was the end of the Old Faithful. Funnily enough, I actually found this knife at Warrington. This was back in the day when you could actually still dive for Paua at Warrington and Dunedin. And I don't know, it was a few dives later, and my brother-in-law saw me with it, and he said, "Oh, that looks like my knife." And I was like, "Yeah, I found it at Warrington." He's like, "Oh, I lost it at Warrington." And I mean, he's quite a good bugger. And I said, "Oh, I'm keeping it." And he didn't say any more, so we just left it at that. But I mean, he'd had his time with it, and how many years I've had out of that knife, but it's probably 6 or so years, but that's the end of it. And I think on this particular day, it was just so much undersized, I would have been a lot happier rather than using stainless to have a plastic one, so that's what I'll be doing. I'll be upgrading to plastic. It's kind of downgrading because they're harder work, but at least you're not damaging the Paua. But yeah, it was just after this I was starting to get really fatigued, and I ended up going back to a rock for a bit of a measure up, and I thought that was me. I thought I was done, but as always, I'm always too keen. I got my second wind, and yeah, managed to keep going. So sometimes that's all you need is a quick rest up. Notice the way I dropped my knife on the bottom. I'm so used to having a knife hanging, you know, on the string on my wrist. I just left it. You know, I let it hang like I usually would, but obviously it wasn't suspended, so it went straight for the bottom. And I mean, you can see there I done it again. I left it on the bottom, didn't I? I'll swim away and realise, oh, where's my knife? I got to go back for it. It's amazing. You get a bit complacent. You get used to having something the way it is, and becomes muscle memory, to be honest. Funny, it doesn't take them a minute to sort of clamp down, and you saw that power slide on the top of the cover on the float boat, but yeah, it doesn't take a minute for them to sort of lock themselves down with their foot. I was worried at first. I thought the wee waves out there were going to knock them over, but I was quite happy on the day about the visibility. I don't know what the guys usually get down there in Bluff, but to me this is primo visibility. Often when I go out in Dunedin, yeah, there might be bit of tidal current or maybe the odd wave and whatnot, and you know, it's often pea soup. Sometimes I'm diving by feel, or you know, I might have a foot or two of visibility, but yeah, no, this was excellent prime conditions. I noticed some of these, looking at it from the camera view, I can actually see some of them were actually in, and that's why I want to get another measure. I would have handled a few less if I had have had that instant measurement, knowing that you know, it didn't slot in. It was big enough and wouldn't have been a problem, but yeah, not the best of measures, unfortunately. But yeah, we're in another area now. Swum over to another island. Things are about to change up a wee bit. Change of scenery. change of scenery and a change of species. There she is, the mighty Canucks. That's what I was after. And of course, where there's one, there's always another. And there she goes, second one in the bag. And that's about it, guys. It was about probably close to an hour and 3/4 diving. Anyway, cheers. Well guys, that's our take for the day. 6 legal Pauas, 2 Kina. Got the others back. Just done the, well, just on, but we'll risk it. All good. Happy days.